how do you come up with this word called arity?
What it means is actually the pursuit of excellence towards a integrity mountaintop, like a nirvana.
What does incident response actually mean?
When you have a crisis in your family, you have a crisis in your business, there's usually a red banner that says emergency exit, break this glass in case of a fire. That's who we are. Cyber attacks are not technically sophisticated. It's the same old thing.
How attackers are using AI?
We've been applying data analytics to the investigative process of who, what, when, where, why, and how. I know what it is to be a small business. I started this company on my credit card.
The retail companies that go through a lot of attacks, especially at the time of Diwali and all.
Where there's money, there's risk. Just know that an attacker is trying to get to those funds.
If you wanted to hire someone from India, what is that one thing that you wanted the people to have?
Can they think outside the box? Can they solve the problem? Can you teach them lessons and they pick them up and learn them? And can they take those lessons and teach others?
What it is like a cyber war room?
Cyber war room is like a room where people from different teams come together to address a crisis. So it is a diverse squad.
Can you just throw me some light on few of the incidents that felt like a movie?
On 31st of December, when everybody's ready to wrap up and start the celebrations for New Year's, we receive a call.
What is the difference between SOC and cyber war room?
There is a very thin line of difference. Analysts find something which is high critical, then the war room has to be spinned up immediately.
Welcome to Hyderabad, City of Excellence, and RIT's excellent thing. So you have been to Hyderabad many times, I guess.
Yes.
So what is your one favorite food in Hyderabad?
So first of all, the founders that came together here, we've been together for over 20 years. Raj, who's my partner, he was the head of the Deloitte practice here and all of the cyber back office, the risk, the IT infrastructure. And so a friend that I've had for decades. And so coming to Hyderabad and seeing the growth over the last 2 decades has been amazing.
Yes.
One of my most favorite cities in the world. When I come to Hyderabad, the first thing I have to have is biryani. It's my favorite dish. You do it the best in the world. And we don't get it the way you make it in the U.S. So it's one of my favorites.
Yes. First of all, thank you, Joe, for coming to my podcast, World Startup News. And for people who doesn't know Joe, he's a founder of Arity. Am I speaking it right? Arity, right?
Arete, yes.
Arity.
It's Greek.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's Greek, Arity. So before going into the specifics, I just want to understand, how do you come up with this word called Arity in the first place?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your podcast. Being here in India, it's wonderful to see that you've got this platform to reach out to business owners, entrepreneurs, business leaders. So thank you for having me on the show. But Arete, we came up with the term Arete because what it means is actually the pursuit of excellence.
Wow.
But not just from a performance perspective, but really from integrity, who we are. So in search of kind of like, I think we call it nirvana here. Arete is the pursuit of excellence towards a integrity mountaintop, like a nirvana.
Okay. So Arity stands for the Nirvana, predominantly for Indian audience.
Yes.
And for people who doesn't know Arity is one of the global cybersecurity company which is into incident response. If you have ever faced any cybersecurity breach or any cybersecurity ransomware, these are the company which helps you to come back up online, help you to come up with the complete activity, and they help you to restore, and also they help you to make sure that it doesn't happen again. That is something that I understand. So just tell me this one thing. As per the statistics, the global cybersecurity crime rate is going at $10.5 trillion in a year. That is a huge number. Yes. On the other hand, you have a mission to end cyber extortion. So that is a very huge activity. So how do you balance this? And how did you come up with this mission in the first place?
Yes. It's a great question. First of all, Arete was really started by a group of individuals, excellent individuals that were leading some of the largest incident response companies in the world. Most of us would come together over the last 25 years on leading large incidents, going back to Saudi Aramco and around the 2010 timeframe, and where Saudi, when they brought together the world's leading incident responders to help them bring back online Saudi Aramco, which is effectively 80% of the economy of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
So in that session where we all spent 2 months in the desert together, we formed very good relationships. Over the next 10 years, before we started Arete, many of us would come together and talk about some of the emerging trends and what were really keeping us up at night at leaders as incident response.
Yes.
So Arete was a direct result of NotPetya. In 2017, the NotPetya virus was effectively a culmination of a Trojan,
Yes.
which was a targeted attack, and an encryption technique, which today is what we commonly see in ransomware and extortion attacks. These two things brought together through the world supply chain some of the largest takedowns of pharmaceutical companies, supply chain companies, organizations like Federal Express, and hundreds of others. Many of the members that founded Arete were the leaders of that incident. And we came together with one specific mission: deconstruct cybercrime, understand who the adversary is, understand where they're operating, understand what's the tactics, the techniques, the approaches that they're doing, so that we can actually help our clients develop out strategies and solutions to solve for a systemic, emerging, and constantly, attack surface. Yeah.
It's impressive actually, because like dealing with a company like Aramco and handling that particular incident is one of the major seed for Arete. That is something very fascinating. And on the other hand, when you talk about Aramco and the incident response, I would like to also go to the basics of incident response, because the audience that we have are not completely technical savvy in the first place. So when you say incident response, most people feel like a hackers going on in and around and all. So what does incident response actually mean for a company who doesn't even know what is incident response?
Yeah, so think of us as we are the global emergency room
Yes.
for your community,
Okay.
for all ransomware extortion needs. So when you have a crisis in your family, you have a crisis in your business, you have you have a place that you go, there's usually a red banner that says emergency,
Yes.
emergency exit, break this glass in case of a fire. That's who we are.
Okay.
And so we're the number that over 100 insurance carriers around the world, ICIC Lombard here
Yes.
in this region, Tokyo Marine in Japan, IA in Australia, Lloyd's of London, and Chubb in the United States, over 100 of these organizations worldwide, for over 10 million insured organizations, have one number they call, and that's Arete. So we're not the brand, the commercial brand that people know. We're the industrial brand that $1 trillion of economy depends on, and really to not just go there to try to get a customer.
Yes.
That's not our goal. Our goal is to resolve a pandemic issue, like a virus,
Yes.
to quarantine the issue, and to quickly get the client back online
Yes.
as quickly as possible. So we have a very industrial, almost government, military-like response with precision, not a commercial orientation that that people will get from advertising companies.
So that's great. One thing that struck my mind when you say this thing is cyber war room. So like when I heard about cyber war room, one thing pictured in my mind, it's like a Hollywood movie. There are like screens flashing, phones ringing, and everything. Does your war room also resembles the same?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Hollywood movies depict what it is to be in the incident for the first time.
Okay.
You're talking to an individual that represents hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of professionals, that this is all we've done
Yes.
for over 2 decades. So because of that, and because our phone rings many, many times every day with a new crisis, the government is like that Hollywood movie. The local law enforcement is like that. The
Okay.
bank and the company and the families that are involved. But Arete is not. We believe it's kind of our responsibility to be the calm in the storm, to take a very measured, a very practical, data-driven. We know who the adversary is. We
Yes.
know where they live.
Yes.
We know what countries they're in. We know what tools they're using. We know what types of organizations. So there's no mystery in it to us. Therefore, there's no need to be crisis, right? They're actually no surprise to us. We've seen it all. We see it all every day. We actually, when we go into most situations, we can anticipate 3 steps ahead
Wow.
because it's really it's just the same game,
Yes.
right? In this one, it's like a cricket pitch,
Yes.
right? We know how they're going to pitch, right? And we just are in the right place to hit the ball.
Okay. So you're like a digital firefighters.
Yes, yes.
That's great. So one thing that like when I heard about you is you handle more than 13,000 plus cybersecurity incidents over a period of like 7-8 years, right?
Yes.
So what is that one thing that you found common in most of the incidents?
So, so to that point, so we were the largest, fastest growing incident response organization in the world. But what we quickly learned is that we can't do all of the incidents ourselves. So what Arite's real focus on, beside doing thousands of incidents ourselves each year, is actually becoming a platform with data and analytics to the aggregators of these things. So we actually not only do 13, 14, 15,000 now in 2025.
Yes.
But we actually work very specifically with the aggregators of the other companies that do 1,000 a year
Okay.
or 2,000 a year on every continent in the world. So we're working with those people to provide them specific intelligence so that the world has a peripheral understanding of evil, where it sits, what it does, so that we can walk into it and be the light.
Okay, that's great. That like when you said like around 15,000 cyber incidents, how many of these incidents are from a human error? Like I'm talking from not from the hacker's perspective, but from the company's perspective that actually got through this. How many of like kind of percentage are from a human error perspective?
Yes. So, first of all, Arete is an engineering and data science company at its core.
Yes.
So we have deep expertise in technical expertise. Some of the world foremost leading experts on all of the platforms, from Palo to Cisco to Microsoft to everyone. We work with those leaderships at those companies to help them evolve their technical products
Yes.
based on we are feeding critical intelligence about how to evolve to the threat. That being said, this is not a technical problem.
Okay.
Your question was, how many of these involve humans?
Yes.
100%. 100% is cyber attacks are not technically sophisticated. Very, very few of cyber attacks are new.
Okay.
It's the same old thing. You get in your car every day, it's probably the same car. Maybe you have a couple cars, right?
Yes.
But it's very much the same car. You use that car for a few years, then you get a new one.
Yes.
This is pretty much how most of the cyber criminals are operating. They have a technique, they have a method they use every day, and they use that until the wheels fall off, right? And then they get a new one. But it's a slower progression. People talk about AI, they talk about all these things. that create fear and uncertainty. But for the people that operate in this space, there's no fear, there's no uncertainty. It's actually kind of boring
Yes.
on the technical side.
Okay.
The human side is very fascinating because what the cyber criminals have done that most of us don't talk enough about is how they are really attacking trust.
Yes.
Because it's not anybody can tell you what to do with an MFA. Anybody can tell you what to do with backup tapes or what they can tell you to do with your email, phishing, spear phishing, all of these types of things. It's not really about that. What it's about is for your organization, how are cyber criminals attacking the trust that you have
Yeah.
with your partners, with your employees, with each other, with your lawyers and the governments then in which you're adhering to. Because what the cyber criminals have become experts at and very sophisticated at is destroying trust.
Okay.
And that's really the larger concern for us because in a world where governments don't see governments the same way, there's a reason for that. There is a larger evil that's at work, a coordinated evil that's focused on separating trust between governments, separating trust between relationships in companies and their partners, separating trust between advisors. And it's really for one reason, because when you feel like you're away from your community, when you've been distant,
Yes.
right, from your family, from the people that care for you, from the people that support you, then you're alone, then you're weak.
Yes.
And they know that, just like a lion when it chases a gazelle, right? It knows how to separate its primary from the pack so that it can take it out. And that's what is very fascinating to us because it creates a larger systemic threat. As we see in the media,
Yeah.
the world is filled with fear.
Yes.
And so that's what we are intended to stop.
Yeah. Fear kills more people than the actual thing that I can understand. So one more thing that comes when you mentioned this AI thing. So you have been in the center of like incident response, and AI is ruling the world right now. So both attackers as well as the defenders are using AI. So I would like to understand a bit on how attackers are using AI, like might be the deepfake or any other social engineering activities, and how are they actually using AI in 2025?
Yeah. So first of all, from the foundation of who Arete is and where we came from in the last 25 years, we've been applying data analytics to the investigative process of who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Yes.
Facts to create a data-driven analytics understanding of this world. So applying data analytics and AI and the understanding of AI is actually a core tenet to the people that started this business. So in our business, even though it's now fashionable, we were applying these things in 1999 when most people were doing keyword searches.
Yes.
We were working with the largest, most sophisticated governments, collaborating with those governments on how do we apply communications traffic and AI. So that being said, the application of AI in this world today is really, once again, it's in this area of trust, right? It's saying, how do I take what is a business email compromise to someone's, how do I take phishing? And we've made it very easy for the adversaries, unfortunately. Our desire to put everything on our social media platforms,
Yes.
telling everybody who our family is, telling everybody where we're going,
Yes.
telling everybody what we're doing. We've made it incredibly easy to train these AI engines in how to attack us and when to attack us. Most organizations, for a BEC as an example, will simply send the email when you've told the world that you're traveling, right? Or you've told the world that you're going on vacation.
Yes.
Or you've told the world that you're, and so it's actually developing its intelligence from what you're communicating. So it's using you as a way of generating the attack itself.
That is actually fascinating because I actually mentioned that we are having this podcast before.
Yes.
And now I was just thinking how people will actually use it against me in the first place.
I'll get a text message saying that there's somebody that was listening to it and they would like to talk to me, and I'll have a link to go to.
Oh, that might be.
That would happen almost 100% assured that would happen.
So, yeah, refrain yourself from using the social media and training the AI is something that I can understand. On the other hand, like Areti is also using AI for the defending purposes and all. So, how do you incorporate AI in the defending mechanism?
So today we have set up our company since the beginning, really on a data lake environment.
Yes.
So we bring in all the world's communication traffic on this incident from leading telecommunications companies in the Americas, in the in the European Union, as well as APJ. And what we do is we cross correlate this with the incidents that we see. So we started in the very beginning in 2017 with 650 data elements
Okay.
that were curated in forensics and malware, CTI, all of the normal. So think of it at each layer of the technical cake, right? We deconstruct that layer. And then we map that against the larger universe of what's outside known. And then we create what's called a behavioral correlations rule. So you have behaviors, I have behaviors.
Yes.
And so we just take those rules and pattern and start to do what's called a parent-child relationship or a link analysis
Okay.
to every adversary. Because what's behind a threat actor is a person.
Okay.
And if you know who the person is, we are behavioral. Like we are habitual. We
Yeah.
go to the same stores. We go to the same places. We visit the same. We're very consistent.
Yes.
So we've spent most of our lives knowing exactly who these people are,
Okay.
where they shop, where they go to school, who their families are,
Okay.
what governments they're under, where there was a very interesting anomaly for us was in the Ukrainian-Russian war.
Okay.
During that time, most of our data models got disrupted because of the accuracy in 2020, 2021. Over 80% of the attacks in the U.S. went dark.
That's huge.
80%. They called it, Wall Street Journal called it the cyber winter,
Yes.
right, in the summer of 2021. It wasn't a cyber winter. It was there's a war going on, and the telecommunication infrastructure and all the places where these bad actors they had to move.
Yes.
They had to go to different places. So now you've seen that pick back up. They've reestablished themselves. They've reconnected themselves into other countries. We know where they are. We know who they are. We know what they do. We know the tools they use. And so now it's back to business as usual.
Okay. So that brings me to the another question that I have in my mind from very long. So like generally hackers when they attack, they remove the traces and all. So how do you like on the other hand, they're good in their job, obviously. How do you actually get through the hacker? Because they have their own methods to remove the traces. They make sure that they doesn't want it to leave the traces while doing an attack and all. But how do you actually detect them? How do you actually find them? Is it possible to find it?
Yes. So before NotPetya, the group that I came out of and that most of us were part of in the U.S. that were part of the government agencies, some of the largest defense contractors. My father was a president of Martin Marietta, which is now Lockheed Martin's largest defense contractor in the world.
Wonderful.
They did real programs. They did, the Titan Ballistic Intercontinental Nuclear Exchange program, which is what cybersecurity used as a framework for risk. So where we came from is a place where understanding the telecommunication infrastructure of every country
Yes.
in the ICANN community. So this is literally the pipes that connect the world. It is the internet backbone, as we call it.
Yes.
It's not a company, it's not an organization, it's cables,
Okay.
right? So let's just say we have ways to get the data from these cables around the planet. And even though Google and others are building new cables, it'll be very easy to put ways of getting that. So we have access to data that, let's just say, very few people on the planet have access to. And what we do with that is we have a way of sensing and signaling. These are,
Yes.
I have an electric car. I have a Tesla. I don't think Tesla is popular here in
No.
India yet, but I know Elon is an interesting guy. But so this idea of sensing and signaling, that's in every electronic car, every system that's automated, right, is a way of taking that data from these places. So this is a baseline way of understanding when different criminals are in different places.
Okay.
Because they have even though they're using tools like Tor and Onion and doing all of these little things that
Yes.
we actually invented those. So we know the parts of what they do and what they don't do.
Okay.
And so there's places that when you invented the very tools that
Yes.
the bad actors are using and techniques that they're using as a framework, there's easy tripwires to set up. And when you get that, and that ties back to certain areas and regions, even when it doesn't, there are easy ways to figure out and detect. And so there's a couple other points that will verify whether or not we are accurate. So we've been tuning that
Okay.
here at AirTay for 7 years.
Okay.
And the wonderful thing that we've been able to do that because we were created by incident response leaders.
Yes.
Right? We were funded by ourselves.
Yes.
And we are the most profitable, so we refund
Yeah.
everything back into the business because for us, Airtay is not a commercial business for investors because we own it.
Yes.
It's actually a mission statement that we will be the counterpunch to cybercrime. And wherever there's darkness, there will be light. And we're coming.
That's fascinating to know that you are one of the brains behind Tor and multiple other companies who invented those, because I never had an opportunity to like talk with such people, and it was a great honor actually. And one more, when you spoke about the cyber criminals, one thing that struck my mind, you go through ransomware every single day, like that attacks happening. How is it to deal with a cyber criminal or a hacker who demands money and all? Like, how is the negotiation happening? Because most people doesn't even know that negotiations happen. And one study that I read recently is 60% of the ransomware attacks, even though you pay the money, you can't extract the information. I mean, this is as per the basic global standard. I'm not talking about the RET. I'm just talking about the global standard. Most of the time, even when you pay the money or when you pay the ransom, you'll not get anything in return. How does RET deal with it? And second, how does you actually negotiate with an? How does it look like negotiating with a cyber criminal?
So what you're talking about is why there's a requirement for a global standard.
Yes.
That Airtay's been working to create a global standard for how to deal with these people.
Okay.
What to do. Think of it as electronic playbook with updated intelligence, just like you would all the time. Here in Hyderabad, the roads are changing all the time. Every time I come back, there's new buildings and new twists and turns. So you need to adapt, right?
Yes.
But there also needs to be a standard for how you adapt and organized of people that are operating here. Just like doctors will update themselves on an annual basis on the, what's happening around the world in innovation. Same way, Airtay has created a standard that we're very proud of, one in which zero. So when I say 15,000 incidents as of today, handled, in these type of extortion attacks where we're dealing with negotiating with threat actors on the behest of their clients. So we're acting as the client itself in these cases. we are extracting in this process an understanding of who they are. So we probably know who they are.
Yes.
So we probably know what they're going to ask for and what they're going to do, where they're going to ask for their data, where their data is coming from, where their wallet ID is. We probably already linked that wallet ID back to a geolocation that we have in file. We've already looked at and know the adversary chain. And so we're looking at the same time, while we're negotiating, there are 14 other professionals following 14 other specific work streams in a coordinated fashion. So when we negotiate, we don't not get the data back.
Okay.
It's maybe 2 times in 15,000 times
Wow.
has that happened. So very, very rarely, because we're like a surgical team,
Yeah.
right? We're not practicing. We are the authority. We are the experts. And I don't say that with pride. I actually say it with authentic humility. We've worked at this painstakingly as a passion for over 2 decades. Eventually, you become excellent, but it's only comes through, honing your skill every single day. And so, with that, when you use that number 60%, it's a larger concern for people like myself and people like others, because that represents a statistic that's unacceptable.
Yes.
If 60% of my patients, right, don't have the outcome in which they cure disease, I'm a failure as a doctor.
Yes.
I should not practice medicine.
Yeah.
This is why Arte is really working to a data standard, a playbook standard that we're trying to disseminate through these insurance carriers around the world to all of their incident responders. We're working with the technology organizations like SentinelOne, Microsoft, and many others to disseminate our playbooks to their vendors so that there can be a ubiquitous standard that is much higher than what it is today.
You are really a global leader because when the global standard is like 60% and you are like 0.00001%, that makes a lot of difference between you and others in the market. Coming back to our discussion on cyber criminals, what is like you have dealt with more than 15,000 plus cybersecurity incidents? What is that one thing that surprises you the most? Because as you have a pattern and all which you mentioned, but there might be some surprising activities that you have observed.
Yeah, it's once again, it's not the technology aspect of it doesn't surprise us. I think the thing that surprises me the most is really how irresponsibly some organizations are and how they really help the victims.
Yes.
What I find is American people love the Indian people.
Okay.
We all grew up, in our schools, in our communities together.
Yes.
Indians, like when I come to India, it's mostly Indian people,
Yes.
right? When I go to America, it's all people. It's
Yes.
all walks of life, and we're all integrated into one community. And despite the politics and the media that would make it sound like we're not, American people love Indian people.
Yes.
We love biryani. But so the thing that is, I guess, most surprising to me, the thing that's most concerning to me in this time is that responsible governments,
Yes.
responsible media, responsible legal,
Yes.
responsible leadership that is supposed to be there to protect the citizens,
Okay.
to provide peace, and to provide a feeling of security,
Yes.
right, to the nations in which they lead, in which the organizations that they lead have turned their attention to fear because it sells.
Yes.
And so leadership has become more about selling this thing of popularity to hey, one person versus another person, versus trying to create understanding.
Yes.
Why are these things happening? What's happening? So instead of you see it on the media. Everybody's pointing at everybody. Nobody has accountability. I think this is the place where I'm most concerned because of the cyber attacks. Because, like I've said, the technology aspect of it is not an issue.
Yes.
But responsible governments, responsible industry leaders need to give clarity, and one that's not fear-based. Anybody, one of the things that we come out of these incidents when we provide a post-op, kind of like you're coming out of a terrible situation, what should I do next? Many of these things don't require a lot of money.
Yes.
So it doesn't make us fashionable in the sense of we're not trying to build billions of dollars of service revenue because it's not required. And since we're not finance backed by a bunch of people that need to see a return, what we do is the advice that we give is actually very low cost.
Okay.
Pennies. Not rupees. But,
I can understand. Yeah.
And so there is a very practical, pragmatic, but it has to be well informed. And it has to be led by organizations and leaders. It's frankly why we started working with cyber insurance. Because cyber insurance actually pays the bills.
Yes.
When the business is interrupted, when there's an accident, when lives and livelihood and communities have losses, they turn to the insurance company.
Yes.
And we have it for fire, we have it for structure, we have it for damage. And so we really, over the last 7 years, been developing out with the insurance markets around the world how to create better policies. Policies that very low cost, right? In a way that everybody, so our goal is so that every individual and every company in the world will have a cyber policy.
Yes.
One that's not too expensive for them to have, but it's an insurance that says, if this happens to me, I'm protected. Why should I lose my livelihood?
Yes.
Why should I lose my business? Why should I lose my job? It should just be, this is just normal business,
Yes.
right? And so we've been working with the largest carriers in the world, like I said, over 100 insurance carriers in every country of the world, to democratize cyber crisis,
Yes.
cyber fear, all of this nonsense into a cyber policy, one in which is easily, readily available. ICIC Lombard is one of the organizations we work
Yes.
with here in the region. And it's now available, and it's very inexpensive for businesses.
Yes.
To be a business owner today, it is unacceptable to not have a cyber policy.
Yes.
Every single business, whether you're a healthcare professional, a manufacturing professional, in the aviation business, in the retail business, in the Bollywood business, you name it, 16 industries, in any of the sub-industries, you should have a cyber policy. It's an add-on policy. It's not expensive, but it is a way to protect your employees.
Yes.
It's a way to protect your customers and your partners. And frankly, I wouldn't do business with somebody that didn't.
That many Indians doesn't even know that cyber insurance exists actually. Like when you speak, I can do like there was back in those days, there were very few companies in India which came up with this concept of cyber insurance. So when you are speaking, that I can understand. One more thing that I have, like, what should a typical company do if they got attacked within the first 24 hours? Should they call the 911, and what should they do actually?
So if there's a cyber attack, call Airtays 911. We do this all day, every day, and we do it with leading organizations that do this all day
Okay.
in every region of the world. Every region of the world. I'm not saying that out of a commercial plug. I'm very proud of the men and women that are here. We've hired the best in the world. We care for our employees. We care for our customers. We care for our global partners. we care for people.
Yes.
Arete is about the people. It's not about the technology, and we're about solving this issue.
Yeah.
And so when I say call Arete, this is a real pandemic of its time. You know,
Yes.
we saw 10% of your GDP lost during a terrible accident that was alleged as an accident on this nation and every nation of the world, right? It created huge issues for India. This is the same thing. This is a digital pandemic, right?
Yes.
And it's being manufactured by nations that would like to see you stay in the dark ages and not rise out of that at a 10% growth GDP year over year, right?
Yes.
And come into the great nation that you are, right? And so I'm very passionate about India, very passionate about the India leadership and what you're becoming in the world. You're an incredibly important partner to us and to the American people and our way of life. Our values, our beliefs are very much aligned in serving one another, in caring. It's very much a family culture here. And so for me, when I say call Arete, it's because I want to make sure that you're protected.
Yes.
I want to make sure that you are not extended in your suffering
Yes.
just for irresponsible business leadership.
Got it. One more thing. For example, there are a small company which doesn't have huge budgets. How do you deal with that company? Because they've also gone through cyber attacks. They also gone through ransomware and all. What is that one advice that you give for a small company? That is one thing. And how should the small companies deal with this cyber attack? Because they might not have the budgets to hire you. I mean, I'm just assuming,
Yes.
but yeah.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
So very small company. I started this company on my credit card.
Okay.
I used to do business development trips to New York and to Washington and to London on my grocery money.
Okay.
I know what it is to be a small business.
Yes.
I know what it is to not have anything and to have everything on the line. If you can afford to, get a cyber policy,
Cyber,
right?
get cyber-
Number one. Number two, basic things like MFA. Basic
Yes.
thing. Multi-factor is a basic thing,
Yeah.
right? The second thing to do if you're a really small business is use a YubiKey. It's a basic physical key for your mobile device. It's a hard code, right?
Yes.
This is a basic thing that aren't expensive, right?
Yes.
If you do those two things, you're good.
Okay. So that brings me to one of the topic of multi-factor authentication. Despite having multi-factor authentication, one of the recent in 2023, a ride-hailing cab company got attacked despite having multi-factor authentication. Like, how do you see that thing happening actually?
Once again, this issue is around trust, right?
Yes.
You can have multi-factor, you can have EDR, you can have XDR, you can have SOAR orchestration. We can go on and on and on. You can have everything, and the adversary can still get to you through compromising your social trust, right? And your social trust is very easy. It's a targeted email in which they call phishing.
Yes.
And, I've seen attacks where somebody will put a parking ticket on your car and they will give you a government email to go to pay the parking ticket that's on your car.
Okay.
That's an attack.
Yes.
It's actually not in that place that you're going that looks like a government place
Yes.
to pay the bill is actually a place that is stealing your money, right?
Okay.
So I've seen every variation of type of attacks that happen on satellites and outer space,
Yes.
that happen in submarines, 20,000 leagues below the sea, that happen, on airplanes, that happen in hospitals. So what I would say is there's no perfect solution,
Yes.
right? Just like a lock in your house, right? If somebody wants to break through the lock with a tremendous amount of force that takes the door off the hinges, right?
Yeah.
Did the lock do its job? Yes, it did. Did the structure of your house cave in? Yes, it did. So we can't live in bunkers. We can't build bunkers for our businesses.
Yes.
It's not realistic, right? And so there are always going to be ways around this. And so I think that the key thing is setting yourself up for success with making sure you have a cyber policy, making sure you have the basic things in place so that when you speak to your employees and you speak to your partners, you're saying, I've done the responsible things.
Yes.
And that's all you can do, right? And then you can sleep at peace at night, right? Because your partners know you've done what you can do, right? Not built a bunker, right? Because it's hard to talk to people that are in a bunker, right?
Yes.
Right? Because they don't have phones, right? They're in a bunker,
Yes.
right? It's so we still have to live our lives,
Yes.
right? Cyber attacks are a part of life, right? They always will be. We shouldn't be afraid of them. We shouldn't be scared, but we should do the responsible things to make sure that when they do happen, you know who to call, Arete. After they happen, you work with your local people and you put in place the things that are happening to organizations like you by industry, by size, and by geography. An appropriate measure for an appropriate systemic problem. That's it.
One thing that's great to hear on one part, but on the other hand, recently one of the airline company got compromised, and their customers data got breached, and they got a huge hefty fine from GDPR. So, what do you think that actually happened? Why do you think that actually happened? Because you might have seen similar company. I'm not saying the same, but similar companies happening in and around you at that same moment.
Yeah. So this goes back to the earlier comment around responsible leadership. The countries of the world have made it incredibly difficult for businesses and enterprises
Yes.
to interoperate. Everybody seems to want to build inclusivity
Yes.
with their nations, with their companies, with their platforms. This is not the way we operate as humans.
Okay.
And it's actually just a control technique. This is where I think irresponsibility is on, right? Having data that's exfilled is ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. Because all the data, your data, my data, it's already out there. Every government's been breached, right? Every bank, every government, every place, university, every place where you thought the data was safe, it's already been breached, and it was probably already breached 5 years ago, right? So this tax that governments apply and that lawyers and other people and organizations like mine that make millions of dollars on this it's a servicing of the problem. It's not a solving of the problem,
Yes.
right? And so I'm familiar with the airline, and I'm familiar with all the other airlines around that airline that also had the same kind of attack at the same time when they happened, because this isn't a one-off issue. This is a programmatic, systematic campaign
Okay.
that is being waged against the world to create economic depreciation, right?
Yeah.
There's a nation north of you that would like to see you not grow in size,
Yes.
right? That's well understood by your country. It's well understood by ours, right?
Yes.
And as we're seeing more of a manufacturing base slip from their country into yours, making your economy stronger, there's going to be more of these attacks because they've already pledged that they have an army of hackers
Yes.
that work for their government that do one thing. They apply extortion and ransomware attacks against small businesses of nations in America, only to try to make America's economy weaker, right?
Yes.
And they've already said that. And they've said that this year they're going to grow that army by 4 times so that they can inflict billions of dollars of pain on small businesses, founders that started their company, that had courage, right, to start a company, to provide a service, to provide a capability. Why? Because they want to win. That's all. That's all
Yes.
that is. Some people lie and cheat and steal to win. Other people are honest, hardworking, and believe to have an ethics and a value. And I think that's what's the most important thing right now between America and India is that we have a common shared value. We have common beliefs. We're hardworking, right? That's why people move to America, is a hope, right? There's an idea of hope, hope for education, hope for a better way of living. And that's what I love about it is because it's not America. It's actually every country. Like me, I'm Lebanese, right? My mother moved outside of a war because it's a beautiful place to live, a beautiful culture, but had me in America. But I still consider myself very much Lebanese. So the same way, it's like we know who the adversary is. It's China. It's Russia. It's North Korea. It's in Iran. Why? Because they want everybody to be under their kingdom,
Yes.
their monarchy, right? And they don't want one nation. They want all nations, and they want all businesses, and they're going to do nothing to stop it. And so that's why we, as the people of the world, have to band together
Yes.
and not be whipsawed around by countries' politics and media propaganda, but actually work together to solve this issue responsibly because they're not going to do it for us.
I guess we need more RETs coming up in all over the places, at least in India.
We're working with the banks.
Yes.
We're working with JP Morgan Chase. We're working with the largest insurance carriers in the US, in the EU, and in APJ, so that we can bring the light to the world
Yes.
where there's darkness. Just like we're getting ready for Diwali here.
Yeah, that is one thing. So, like when you say Diwali, one thing that struck my mind is this retail companies that go through a lot of attacks, especially the time of
Yes.
this huge Diwali and all.
Yes.
So, what are the few tips that you give it to? I mean, you are given multi-factor authentication and all, but for smaller companies who doesn't wanted to get into this like attacks and all, at least they want to safeguard themselves. How do you deal with them?
So threat actors are, they're going to come after where you're paid. Where there's money, there's risk,
Okay.
right? And so whether you're using a mobile device for your business or you're using a computer for your business, whatever way you're taking in funds, just know that an attacker is trying to get to those funds, right?
Okay.
And it's as that happens, just do the precautions you can that come with your device, right? Most mobile devices today, most laptop devices today, have built-in security protocols. No matter if you're one person or you're 1,000 people, if you take a very responsible, pragmatic approach, 90% of these things, 99% of these things, you're going to be fine dealing with. And for all those Indian people that are getting ready for Diwali, it's a wonderful, beautiful holiday. Reminds me of our Christmas, and it's very much about love, which once again is in a time of. I know we're talking about security here and cybersecurity. I think it's important to know that still the most powerful force on the universe is love. So in that, love one another, love your employees, love your partners, and treat the other stuff where it belongs as a much smaller irritants, really, but not a power.
Yeah. So with that note, like I do understand. I mean, there's if you are wanted to have the last things that you would like to say, coming to this podcast and talking about cybersecurity, at least for the Indian companies that are looking at RET in the first place. What are the few last words that you would like to say to our audience?
Yeah. So I think the few last words I'd like to say is number one, I know that cyber insurance is new
Yes.
in the market. Work with your broker, work with your carrier. If they don't have a policy, find a policy.
Yes.
And it should not be very expensive, whether you're an individual or you have many thousands of people. make sure you have a cyber policy.
Yeah.
The second thing is follow the pragmatic rules that are specific to your industry, specific to your geography, and specific to the size of organization.
Yes.
The number one issue that organizations face is they try to apply a tool to a problem that isn't the right size tool, right?
Yeah.
It's not the right size solution. Everybody wants to sell everybody the enterprise solution. Not everybody needs that. And so you apply the principle of logic and being pragmatic to the problem versus just buying into the hype.
Okay, that's great. It was a wonderful session with you. You have really opened up a lot in terms of companies and what to do when there is a cyber attack happen, how companies should react to cyber attacks, and how your policy of 0.0001% beating the industry standard and setting up a new norm in the industry of incident response. And it was a great tour of your cyber war room also that I had yesterday. Hi, Matt.
How are you?
Good. Welcome to this show.
Thank you. Great
And
to be here.
we have RAT, Chief of Staff. And before going into, I have one question for you.
Sure.
Because as a Chief of Staff, you hire a lot of people. What is that one thing that you see in a employee that you wanted seriously to be in your organization?
Sure. So hiring any employee at any level begins and ends with culture. When they're a culture fit, a culture add to what we're building at Arete, with the mission of stopping cyber crime, cyber extortion. So we're looking for those individuals who fit our culture, who are additive to our culture, that can come in and be a part of the mission that we're achieving each day.
Okay. So one more last question that I have. So if you wanted to hire someone from India, what is that one thing that you wanted the people to have? So that apart from culture is one thing that we definitely understand. But if there are someone who wanted to be in India, in your organization,
Sure.
what is that one thing that you see in him so that he'll be in your cyber war room or
Sure.
in this organization?
So there's two things that I personally look for and that our recruiters are looking for and our teams are looking for, our leaders are looking for in their employees. The first one is the ability to solve problems.
Okay.
Can they think outside the box? Can they solve the problem? Can they stay within the confines of their role and what their managers and their bosses are asking, but can they go out and solve the problems, think critically? And the second one revolves around teachability
Okay.
and teaching. Are they teachable? Can you teach them lessons and they pick them up and can learn them? And can they take those lessons and teach others?
Yeah.
So do they have that problem solving ability? Do they have the ability to be teachers and to be students?
Yeah.
Those are two of the main factors that we look for.
That's great. Hi, Kalyan. First of all, thank you for joining our podcast. You are the CFO of RET. I just want to understand, how did you land in this job?
Yeah, thanks, Sairaj, for inviting me to this podcast. So I come from a very serial entrepreneurial background. Me and Raj, who's the CEO of RET India, we were into multiple ventures earlier. In 2019, when we started RET in India, we saw a huge opportunity in the cybersecurity space. There was a huge gap between the cyber risks and the services that was available. So we were very much interested in bringing the practices in the matured markets like the US and bring it to India. So that's how we explored and got RET to India.
That's great. So when you mentioned RAT, one thing that comes into my mind is, how do you deal with hackers? So is it like a movie, like you have a setup, or how do you actually deal with hackers, especially when they hit with ransomware for an organization?
So yeah, it's not a movie-like situation. Our communication with the bad guys, the hackers, are very methodical, very data and legal driven. Our communications is always overseen by our, since it's a very regulated communication, it is always overseen by our legal team because we have to manage our global compliances.
Yes.
Especially when we are dealing with sanctioned entities, we have a very well-defined SOPs on how we have to communicate. It's not even closer to any dramatic movie situation because we are dealing with real life situation, and our team are very well prepared and trained for such situation. So they're very calm. The entire communication is data driven. We've our negotiators have the data backing to verify the claims from the bad guys. We get buy time from the bad guys to do data recovery, and ultimately with all the proper authorizations in place, you get to the best outcomes that we can get for a client from those situations. So it's a very calm and a very objective driven communication and totally not a dramatic one.
That's great to hear, actually. Hi, Kanita. This
Hi,
is
Mahesh.
Sairaj Mahesh. And we have Kanita, who is our Vice President HR. And you have hired a lot of people over a period of time. And I have a question, genuine question. What it is like a cyber war room? And what kind of experts work in cyber war room? And what do they do actually?
Great. I mean, it's a great question. Cyber War Room is like a room where people from different teams come together to address a crisis. Here it is a cyber attack. So it is a diverse squad, and these people are not just coders.
Okay.
So as part of the squad, we have many experts who come together, put a collaborative effort to address the cyber attack in hand, to bring things under control, to look at what needs to be done immediately and the next steps. So, as part of the squad, we have various experts. To start with, digital forensic analyst.
Okay.
Typically, they are the digital detectives.
Yes.
Then we have the restoration engineers. They are like the system surgeons.
Yes.
We have the malware reverse engineers who typically study the hackers' tools.
Yes.
And then we have threat intelligent experts who know the hacker group. And crucially, the legal and the communication experts. So if you look at it, it is basically a multidisciplinary squad because they are here to address a business problem and it is not a technical one. So it's totally a team collaborative effort. Many experts come together and work together, address the crisis and ensure that the client is taken care of.
That's great to hear, actually. In one room, you have everyone
Yes, that's
possible.
right.
And like as a vice president of HR, what is that one quality that you see apart from the technical expertise before picking up the right people for RAT? Because you have been doing it from very long.
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, anyone who needs to be in the organization needs to have the deep technical expertise that is given.
Yes.
But what we put forth most is how do we kind of serve our customers? Because problem becomes our prime problem, and how do we focus on solving our client issues and areas is our utmost important, and that is one skill that we look at in terms of when we are hiring our people.
That's great. So if everyone has this problem solving skills, they can apply for
Yes,
this.
absolutely.
That's great to hear, actually.
Thank you. Because it is not, like I said, not a technical problem.
Yes.
It is a business problem. So putting ourselves into the client shoes, prioritizing their business, how we need to kind of restore the business becomes the utmost importance. So having that mindset and outlook is most important.
Yeah. That's great to hear, actually. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bruce. Welcome to this
Thank
show.
you. Thank you.
So you are the head of forensics at RAT.
Yes, sir.
So I would like to ask a basic question. What is incident response? And if you wanted to explain what is incident response to a student or a shop owner, how do you explain that?
I like to explain it as emergency services, if you will. You can think of incident response and everything that goes into it as firefighters and the police department. When we're called to respond to an incident, the firefighters arrive, they contain the fire, they put out the fire. That's the incident response piece. And then you get into the forensic portion, and that's more so like the police department. So it's determining when the fire was lit, who lit the fire, and did they take anything from the house before the house burnt down. So
Yes.
a lot of it is about rapid response and recovery, and that's where we're digital firefighters and policemen, if you will.
Yes, that's great to hear your perspective about incident response. As you're the director of digital forensics, I would like to understand what is digital forensics in the first place, and what happens in RAT in digital forensics.
So digital forensics, to again use layman's terms, it's like storytelling.
Okay.
So in forensics, it's all about preserving evidence, much like to the police or detective question.
Yes.
You get to an environment, the first thing is about preservation. So it's similar to a crime scene. You don't want to tamper with evidence. So the first thing is we have forensic tools that are industry standard tools that you collect the evidence in a certain way. You have digital fingerprints, if you will, that are called hash values to make sure that the evidence you collect is the same evidence from the scene.
Yes.
After that, you begin to parse the evidence and really put the story together. So there's different artifacts that are parsed from systems. Each artifact is its own thing that will tell you events from the story.
Okay.
Where the forensics and analysts really shine is being the author of the story to put it together to, at the end, tell the client what happened, when things began, what the bad actor, the hacker did, to be able to give them the information of this is what happened. And once they know what happened, you can begin informing them how to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah. So you are amazing storytellers.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
That's great, actually. That's great to hear. Hi, Will. First of all, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you.
And as someone, I always have this question. As someone hearing RAT for the first time, how do you explain it in simple words? What does RAT do?
Yeah, great question. We consider ourselves an extended cyber squad for organizations everywhere. When we think about what we do, we look at data extortion, cyber extortion as the greatest risk to a business. So not only do we help organizations in the line of fire, but we focus on proactive services that allow or enable and empower organizations to prevent incidents from happening in the future, and really trying to address the market from a preventative standpoint, but also there to help them in their darkest hour.
That's great. That's great to hear. What do you do in RAT?
Yeah, so my role is quite unique. I oversee a practice that focuses on after a cyber incident has occurred. There's often data that was exposed that is personal data for citizens, often of the US, but globally as well. And so my team goes through those data sets and identifies the people that were impacted and what data was exposed so they can be notified that the incident occurred and they were impacted.
Okay. What is the role that you play in RAT? What is the name of the role?
The role is Senior Director of Data Breach Analysis Services.
Yes.
It's often called data mining and document review in the industry. And so it's become very much a standard process to support the notification process of individuals that were impacted.
That's great. Hi, Raj. Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
As a president of RAT, you had dealt with more than 15,000 plus incidents all over. So can you just give me some light? Can you just throw me some light on few of the incidents that felt like a movie, and how did you deal with that?
Absolutely. First, Sairaj Mahesh, thank you for having me on your show. You know, the line of work that we operate in is very interesting, to say the least. And particularly, we can be called the emergency services of cybersecurity.
Yes.
If you take that as the kind of a background, I'd love to share a couple of examples of how we really, experience what we experienced during an event. There was this one situation where on 31st of December at around 5:30 or 6 in the evening, when everybody's ready to wrap up and start the celebrations for New Year's, we receive a call from a from a hospital,
Yes.
pediatric cancer hospital,
Okay.
that their systems were hacked
Okay.
and their entire systems were down,
Okay.
including the doctors losing access to any systems that would talk about the medication for the patients in house,
Yes.
or any operations that are happening, or any patients coming in the very next day.
Yes.
So you can only imagine what a situation like that would really, be like for a hospital.
Yes.
Now, for the hospital, because it was almost dead in the water, their only hope is us.
Yes.
And this time around, it was not just a hope about bringing a business up.
Yes.
It was more about making sure that every child who's going through the treatment gets the right kind of treatment, and most importantly, the timely fashion.
Yes.
So you can only imagine what our teams would have had to do to really go into that situation with all the doctors, all of the systems totally dead in the water, and be able to help the entire hospital
Yeah.
come back online and be able to cater to their patients.
Yes.
It was a very, very, complex situation.
Yes.
It was something that we had to hold our nerves and be able to answer the all of the excited
Yes.
teams and doctors, but at the same time keep the nerve to make sure that we are doing the right thing.
Yes.
This is exactly like a situation where in the last over there have to be 16 runs and Virat Kohli is at the crease playing against Pakistan.
Yes. I can understand.
That's the kind of a situation that we dealt with, and all of our teams, kudos to all of them with how beautifully they've handled those situations and made sure that our clients, and most importantly our clients,
Yes.
in this case young children who are going through a very difficult situation in their lives, were being catered to in the best possible manner. So that's one example.
Yes.
There was another very interesting example where, as you know, we as Arite, we actually negotiate with these threat actors.
Yes.
And we do payments, that are facilitated by us on behalf of our clients.
Yes.
And usually our role is to identify the variant, understand the syndicate that they belong to, and using all of the data that we've collected, make very intelligent decisions on how much and how hard that we could negotiate with the threat actors.
Yes.
So one time like that, we were, negotiating, and we did a very hard negotiations. And then we brought the overall demand to a very, probably less than about 20%.
That's great.
Because how we did, the threat actor agreed.
Okay.
And then we went ahead, we facilitated the entire thing, and we were done. We transferred all what we had to transfer. But then the threat actor came back and said, sorry, we want more. I can't give you the keys.
Yeah.
Please understand, these are all criminals already.
Yes.
Right? And that's the kind of group that we deal with. And so there are no guarantees in anything that we do.
Yes.
However, the guarantee is that we will stand next to our clients through and through.
Yes.
So in this situation, when the threat actor started to renege, fortunately, the depth of our teams in this particular area is so good that somehow the syndicate owners got to know that this is what is happening.
Yes.
They actually sent us the keys to that particular case, and then they even kicked the threat actor out of their syndicate.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people might say this is criminal activity.
Yeah.
but the reality is looks like they also follow some ethics in their unethical, way of doing stuff. So these are very interesting situations, and they're like many and many more kind of examples that I can quote,
Yes.
which is a interesting information.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's a lot of knowledge that we could share in the kind of line of work that we are in, which will enable a lot of people to do the right thing
Yes.
in safeguarding their own infrastructure and their own selves in many situations.
Got it. Understood. That was enlightening because I never thought that ethical hackers are this, unethical hackers are this ethical actually, till I heard this story. And I can relate to that doctor story because my sister is an oncologist.
Fantastic.
So I can understand the catastrophic thing that happened, or especially for the pediatric things. And the way that your team dealt with it is wonderful. It's phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
That's great to hear that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Managed to have me.
Hi, Gyan. Welcome to my podcast. I heard you are heading the SOC at RET. So I have this basic question. What is the difference between SOC and cyber war room?
Yeah. Hey, hi. First of all, thank you for inviting me for this podcast. Ideally, I mean, there is a very thin line of difference. See, SOC is basically a 24/7 security operation center wherein people, analysts in different tiers work to see the real-time incidents, whatever is coming, and then they try to analyze. The basic difference is that when an analyst finds something which is high critical, right, then the war room has to be spinned up immediately. So when the analyst is seeing that there are some suspicious activities which is going on in a client environment, and there's a big ransomware attack which is happening, their systems are getting encrypted one by one, then what next, right? So we cannot just wait to pick up the phone and call the client and say that, hey, this is happening, this is happening. So we need to spin up a war room immediately. And in this war room, we will have a combination of peoples with the threat hunter, people from the restoration team to support how we can roll back the infected systems.
Yes.
And all of that. And then we bring the client into that because the client will have access to their environment. So we need support from the clients in the war room. While the restoration activities is happening in parallel, there will be kind of threat hunting going on. Is there any kind of lateral movement which is happening? Is that particular threat actor still trying to make more damages? So this will all be analyzed and inside the war room with multiple experts in the room and do immediate containment. So this is basically the major difference. So I would not say that there is a difference between SOC and the war room. So the war room is an extension of what we detect from the SOC.
Okay. Yeah. So you are the first one who understands when there is a threat happening real time.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So talking about hackers and all, hackers doesn't wanted to leave any evidences and all. So being into this digital forensics and all, how do you recover the evidences that are left by the hackers?
Yeah. So of course, so it's a big challenge, right?
Yes.
So the hackers constantly try to erase their traces. They try to destroy whatever they have collected, what information, how did they penetrate into the network. They try to destroy everything.
Yes.
So we need to be more careful. The more the hackers are in the network, the more damages they try to make, and the more evidences they try to destroy. So what we do is we use sophisticated forensics, proprietary inbuilt forensics tools to quickly collect the evidences.
Yes.
From system disks, from logs, from memory, and all of those places. And then we try not to give any kind of loopholes to the hackers for them to destroy before we collect the evidences. So it's basically like putting together pieces of shredded document, right? And so we try to do that, and we again put our intelligence on top and try to find the legal evidences which can fragment the complete full story of what the hacker has done.
Okay. That's great to hear.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.